Good afternoon, Millersville, and welcome to In the Zone. We've got a full review of the weekend in NFL, and playoff baseball is finally here. Let's get in the zone.
In the zone, I'm Chris Thomas. Let's start off with some college football on Saturday as the #1 ranked Ohio State is at home to host Maryland. Urban Meyer is keeping his firm grip on keeping Cardale Jones as a starter, and he has a right to do so. As here is Cardale Jones on the play-action fake, and he hits the former quarterback turned wide receiver Braxton Miller on a beautiful throw and catch. Look at Miller there with the extra effort to make that catch happen. Second quarter, Jones is back, and he finds his man Miller once again. Beautiful pass, 21-7 here in the second. On the next series, Hill drops back, sees a super open lane, and bam, there he goes. Shades of Michael Vick from his glory days of Virginia Tech. First and goal for a 76-yard run. Third quarter now, Perry Hill once again finds pay dirt for 6 to tie the game up. 21-21 all in the third quarter. Ohio State is in trouble. There goes Cardale Jones once again, pump fakes, and finds his man Jalen Marshall wide open on the post route. And just like that, they'll take the lead and never look back as Ohio State wins it big, 49-28. Now let's head down to Tennessee as SEC East rivals. Tennessee takes on number 16 ranked Georgia. First quarter, Jalen Hurd gets the handoff, not only lost for 2, but a fumble. Leonard Floyd recovers it and takes it to the house for 96 yards as the Bulldogs take a 7-0 lead. Here, Dobbs on the read option and finds Pater. And after a 21-point hole, Tennessee comes back clawing their way up to tie the game. 24-24 all here in the third quarter. Dobbs finds his man again, Alvin Kamara, for his second TD of the game as Tennessee takes the lead. Chubb looks disgusting on the sideline, watches his team blow a huge lead. Lambert, he's back. He finds his man deep. Reggie Davis there for the touchdown to tie the game back up. Fourth quarter, winding down. Here it goes. Dobbs on the 5-yard keeper and pounds his way into the end zone as Tennessee gets the upset, 38-31 against number 16 ranked Georgia.
Scary moment here in Kansas City as star running back Jamal Charles goes down with an apparent leg injury. You can clearly see that this is a non-contact injury, which could be a terrible news for Jamal, who is the centerpiece of this Chiefs offense. No timetable has been set for his return, and we will keep you guys updated with what's going on with that injury. And the Chiefs are going to head to Minnesota this week to take on the Vikings.
Jamal Charles wasn't the only running back this weekend to suffer a cringe-worthy knee injury. As you can see here in the opening seconds of the Tennessee-Georgia game, Nick Chubb was injured as he gets a pitch off right, and he gets tackled and gets hit once again out of bounds. Chubb would stay down as the replay shows that his knee bends completely the wrong way. He was helped to the bench and did not return to the game. Reports now show that Chubb will undergo knee surgery within the next 2 weeks due to ligament and cartilage damage, but no damage to the ACL.
After multiple embarrassing losses, Philly fans were about ready to run Chip Kelly out of town. With a favorable matchup against the struggling Saints at home, Coach Kelly hoped to turn things around this week. We'll pick up things in the second half with the score knotted at 10. Bradford hands the ball off to running back Ryan Matthews as he extends for the score to break the tie. During the ensuing drive, the Eagles front forces a fumble on Drew Brees, which will recover, and they will get the ball back. Right out of the gate, Sam Bradford finds Brent Selleck in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. The Eagles will take this momentum and run away with the game as they finish with a final score of 39-17. Our play of the day comes from tight end Gary Barnidge from the Cleveland Browns. Check this catch out. The deep pass to Barnidge, bobbled, but he somehow manages to squeeze it with his ankles and make the catch. It looked like he definitely didn't mean to do that. I think one of those instances where sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He would make the play, and the Browns would end up winning that game by 3 points in overtime.
Facing the PSX top-ranked defense against Bloomsburg, Millersville falls short to a score of 41-20. This weekend at Chris Field, J.J. Page threw the most passing yards since Connor Casey for 313 yards against Bloomsburg, October 6 of 2012. Millersville once again led up 200 yards to Bloomsburg, led by Lawrence Elliott Jr. with 188 yards. Millersville will go on the road to take on East Stroudsburg with a 2:05 start time to wreck their homecoming.
Probably the hottest topic in the MLB right now is Chase Utley's controversial slide into second base during Saturday night's game. Take a look as he collides with Ruben Tejada in an attempt to break up a double play. Tejada was forced to leave the game with a broken leg, and Utley has been suspended by Major League Baseball for games 3 and 4. The Dodgers, though, have announced that they will appeal the suspension, and Chase Utley is listed as active for tonight's game, although he's not in the starting lineup. That's all that we have for highlights right now, but stay tuned as we have a full recap of MLB and NFL coming up on In the Zone.
Welcome back to In the Zone. I'm Chris Thomas, and I'm here with Ann Roth and Makai Wolfley. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, it's fantastic to be here.
All right, October baseball is in full swing, so let's step up to the plate and talk some baseball. The biggest headline for this weekend comes from Saturday night here in Los Angeles, where the bottom of the 7th, with one out, Howie Kendricks hits into a fielder's choice, and second baseman Chase Utley has a violent collision with Ruben Tejada at second base, and Tejada had to be removed from the game with a broken leg. Enrique scored in the play, which ends up into a rally, which the Dodgers won 5-2. Was Utley's slide a baseball play, or was it just dirty?
You know what? I have a bunch of friends back home who are Mets fans, and I got a bunch of heat for this, for being a Phillies fan and knowing Chase Utley's way of play. But let me say this first and foremost: that play, as dirty as it looks, is completely legal. You can run over the second baseman. It's breaking up a double play. I'm not happy with how Mets fans are handling this. For a city that's so prideful on knowing their baseball and knowing their players, they should be more acclimated to this rule. It's a common rule. And you know this as much as I do,
You're right.
that this happens every single week in baseball. Every week, someone breaks up a double play. And the fact that Chase Utley is getting heat for this is wrong. He didn't mean to break Ruben Tejada's leg, excuse me. It's unfortunate that it happened. But again, Ruben Tejada is not even a good shortstop. He batted .256 this year with 3 home runs. Had he run over maybe like a good shortstop like Carlos Correa, then we have a problem. But he's not even good, and all Mets fans are just a little bit sour at the moment, I think.
I mean, I agree with you that it wasn't dirty, but what you're trying, I don't know if I'm comprehending this right, but you're saying that if it's like a top-tier shortstop that's getting injured, then it becomes more of a problem, even though he's just a shortstop that can help his team out.
For Mets fans, they've been spoon-fed all season that this is the year. Mets fans are winning this year. And all of a sudden, once they get to the postseason, they're untouchable, and no one can hurt their shortstop or any other player for that matter. And Chase Utley comes in and makes a legal play, and then they flip out.
Now, would you say that Chase Utley may have some vengeance towards the Mets from all the crap they give him over the years, that he just decides to target their team?
Listen, Chase Utley has never had vengeance at all for any team. I think he just performs well against any team, and he performs hard every single day. Again, no matter who.
Well, not this year. He barely batted over 200 this year.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that one.
All right, but the question is like obviously I pose to you as a Phillies fan, if Chase Utley were to repeat the same offense towards probably like a Cesar Hernandez or Freddie Galvis, obviously players from your team, how would you feel?
Me personally, I would say that it's Chase Utley. He's made this play a million times. I think there was a picture that was swirling around social media of a play that he made last week, which was the same thing. So
And no one made a big deal about it. But
no one made a big deal
'cause
about
it's
it.
the
But now
playoffs.
because Ruben Tejada's broken his
All right,
leg.
well, we
that's
can
a
spend the
problem.
entire segment just talking about this play
I'm
alone,
sure.
but
I
let's stay on the NL as the Cubs found their offense at Busch Stadium to even up the series against the St. Louis Cardinals 1-1, with the series tied up heading to Wrigley Field. Who has the advantage going into games 3 and 4, the hungry and young Cubs or the battle-tested championship experienced Cardinals? I'll start with you. You had the upset of the Cubs upsetting the Cards, right?
I did actually pick the Cubs upsetting the Cardinals this year in the DS game, but I do 100% think that the Cubs have the advantage going to game 3 and 4. They're starting Jake Arrieta tonight, who has 4 earned runs since August 1st. I mean, their pitching staff, the Mets as a whole, is pitching .318, and they're really deep in their bullpen, and they have great rotation.
You know what? I have to agree with you that I think the Cubs are going to come out on top of this, but I have to say that you can't sleep on the Cardinals just yet. I think whenever they're down a situation, whenever they need someone to step up, someone always steps up on that team, no matter who it is. I think for the first half of this year, it was Mark Reynolds, was smashing balls, smashing them all year. Jason Hayward, who would have thought he would have been smashing the ball this year after a couple down years maybe. But someone always steps up on the Cardinals. I like your pick with the Cardinals. The Cubs. But you can't sleep on the Cardinals.
I mean, the Cardinals have experience. I mean, they won the last 3 out of 5 World
That's what I'm
Series.
saying. They know their territory.
Yeah, them and the Giants always play hot
Giants, yeah.
potato and winning the NL. Of
course.
So it'll be interesting to see those games 3 and 4. All right, let's dive into the AL now. Let's give the AL some love as the Texas Rangers lead the Blue Jays in a 2-1 series, and it seems the Texas Rangers lead 2-1 in their series, and it seems to silence the Jays' big bats. Can the Jays find their offense? Can the Jays find their offense in this series?
I mean,
that's the question.
Right now, the Jays are actually leading the Rangers 6-0. I think in the second or third inning.
That might have changed since then because they were hot. They were going in hot.
They were rallying pretty hard there. I think if it goes back to Toronto, which by the outcome so far, it's going to go back to Toronto for Game 5. But who's going to pitch for them? David Price. I think he hasn't won a game in his entire.
Yeah, David Price is 0-6 in the postseason.
Exactly.
I think it's maybe time that David Price gets a win here. He's due. He's due for a win. And I think with this game right now, it's maybe the 4th inning now. We don't have a score at the moment, but maybe the 4th or 5th inning. But they came into this game swinging, man. Tulowitzki last game came out and he said, "We're not done yet. We're here to play," and play they did, and they came out today swinging as well.
Oh yeah, they 6 runs in the first 2 innings. Like how much better can you get with that?
So you're saying the series will go back to Toronto?
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt they'll go back to Toronto, and they're going to give the Rangers a bit of run for their money.
All right. Currently, right now, the Royals are actually coming back on the Astros. I think we might have a final which scores like 9-6, and it'll look like it'll go back to Kansas City. So Game 5. Who do you have?
You know, it's tough, Micaiah.
I mean, I wanted the Royals to win, but I don't know. The Astros, they're looking pretty tough right now, and they're hard to beat.
All right. So, funny you brought up David. We brought up David Price not winning a postseason game. So, if you had to take your pick, either in a Game 7 series, David Price or Clayton Kershaw to win your playoff game.
That's really rough because we know Clayton Kershaw's downfalls in the postseason as well. So, honestly, if it came down to it, and I was using my head, I'd say, forget both of them. Put someone in there that's won a game.
I mean, but then you got to go back and say maybe they might have their breakthrough. Like you said, it's David Price's turn to get a win.
That's
Are
a
you
good
going?
point.
Are you not going to trust your ace to come through, or are you going to make him feel less confident with himself?
I think if it comes down to Game 7, you have to kind of assess their whole situation. But then again, you got 2 aces on the mound that have had shoddy postseasons at best. Maybe they cancel each other out. Maybe we see a dominant 15 strikeout performance.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
both
who
pitchers are combined 1 of 12 in the postseason. That's a nice fun fact.
That's
all right, that's all the
rough.
time we have That's all the time we have for baseball. When we come right back, we're going to dive into some NFL. Stay tuned. You're watching In the Zone.
Welcome back to In the Zone. I am joined here with my friends Richie Harbaugh and Kyle Warfel. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL here for you. All right, the Cincinnati Bengals came back from a 17-point fourth quarter deficit to defeat the Seahawks yesterday in overtime, 27-24. Cincy is now 5-0, sitting atop a very weak AFC North. So, guys, can the Bengals be a real playoff threat this year?
Honestly, I believe so. The Cincinnati Bengals, over the past few years, have been consistent playoff contenders, but they've never been able to really, in the playoffs, win games, losing to Houston twice in a row a few years back. And I really think they're going to make a push in at least the AFC title game this season. Whereas in prior years, I would say the Bengals are a middle-of-the-road, consistent playoff team where I don't think they'll win a game, but this year I think they'll win it too.
I'm going to have to go with you, Richie. I think they're definitely going to make a push in the playoffs. I feel like they're going to get challenged by the Steelers as soon as Roethlisberger gets back in full health. But the Seahawks definitely showed that they were obviously the Seahawks are a great team, and they were matched up pretty well with the Bengals, and the Bengals came back in the fourth quarter and ended up winning the OT. I mean, this was definitely a test for Andy Dalton, and his confidence is through the roof right now, and I'm very impressed with Andy Dalton.
Do you think, Kyle, that by the time Roethlisberger gets back, that it's going to be a little too late for the Steelers to make a push, though?
I honestly feel like the Bengals are going to take the division this year, and the Steelers are going to push for the wild card this year. But the Bengals have always been really bad in the playoffs, getting kicked out in the first round or second round. I'm pushing for the Bengals. I think they have a really good chance this year in the playoffs.
I think Andy Dalton's looked the best
Oh, yeah.
this year than he has possibly any year in his career so
But-
far.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Dalton is still Andy Dalton.
This is
Yeah.
true. This
Yeah.
is true. Andy Dalton is still Andy Dalton. All right, so let's move on here to a struggling Detroit Lions team. They're still looking for their first win of the season. They were stomped this weekend 42-17 by the Cardinals. Where does the problem lie in Detroit? What's the issue here, guys?
I think 100% it's their defense. Their defense has looked absolutely terrible in the first 5 weeks of the season. Whereas I really don't think Detroit is as bad as they look, because if you look at their schedule and who they played Denver, they played a solid Vikings team, they played the Cardinals, and they played the Chargers. And those are all playoff contending teams for this season. Whereas I think if they had a schedule similar to maybe the Eagles or some other team like that, they would have at least 2 or 3 wins at this point.
I'm going to go with Matt Stafford. As a former quarterback, I can definitely tell he's not comfortable at all in the offense and especially in the pocket. He's throwing really bonehead interceptions. He's usually really on target with Calvin Johnson. He has Golden Tate. There's no reason for him to have as many interceptions as he has. His touchdown should be going through the roof right now with all the targets he has. He has Amir Abdullah. I know Amir Abdullah has fumbling issues and everything, but turnovers alone are losing them games, and I'm definitely putting that on Matt Stafford.
That's a fair. Obviously, their coach feels the same way since they benched Matt Stafford. I don't know if you guys
They
heard,
benched
but
Matt Stafford for someone they started in their 2008 0-16 season.
I think it was
Right.
Orlovsky or
yeah, or
I don't even know
I
his
have it
name, to
right
be
here.
honest.
It's
Dan Orlovsky.
thank you. But I read an article earlier before going on air that the coach for the Lions came up to Stafford at halftime and says, if you throw one more interception, you're benched, you're done. How do you guys feel about that? How would you feel if you were a quarterback in that situation, Kyle, and your coach comes up to you and goes, hey, you throw one more pick, you're done? What would you do? Would that motivate you?
It definitely puts the world on your shoulders. It kind of pushes you to play better, but at the same time, you know if you screw up one more time, you're done. I guess it can make or break you. It depends on what kind of football player you are. If you rise to the occasion, then I guess it's good for you. But I guess in that situation, Matt Stafford crumbled, and I guess he deserved to get benched with all the turnovers.
I'd have to agree. As a quarterback, it's probably either it's going to make you play harder or it's going to just have another interception waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas against a solid defense, like he was playing against yesterday with the Cardinals, probably a top 5 NFL defense this season. So I really think it's make or break, like you said.
I agree with both those points. I think both of those, as far as the Lions are concerned, are the two main problems. They're terrible defense performance right now, and Matt Stafford definitely needs to start making better decisions and playing better as a whole. Mm-hmm. So let's move on here. So which of these 6 unbeaten teams, New England, Green Bay, Denver, Cincy, Atlanta, you know who they are, seems the best poised to win right now for the Super Bowl, to go all the way?
I really think it's the New England Patriots. New England, if you look at their team this year, they're most comparable to their 16-0 2017. Whereas I think they'll repeat the 16-0 performance this year.
You think so?
I think so. Look at the comparisons. They played the NFC East. They came off of a big controversy with Spygate and Deflategate. They've dominated teams. They put up 50 points in one of their first 4 games. They have. There's been no contest for a Patriots game this year. It's almost boring to watch at this point. And they just, in 2007, they had a great passing attack. This year, they had a great passing attack coupled with 2 solid running backs with a 1-2 punch with Dion Lewis and LeGarrette Blount.
Definitely, Kyle.
Yeah, my first pick would probably be the Patriots also, but I'm going to throw a little nick in here. I'm going to go with the Falcons. The Falcons are really impressive right now with the running game with Devontae Freeman. Obviously, they have one of the, I think, the top 5 receivers in Julio Jones. Matt Ryan is a gunslinger, and their offensive line is holding up just enough to let him get the ball out. Their defense, obviously, they're winning them games, which you never hear about a Falcons defense winning them games. And their new head coach coming over as the Seahawks' old defensive coordinator, he has them having a chip on their shoulder that they want to go out and win the games. They're not known as the gunslinging offense anymore. They're known as a stud defense, and the offense is just going to go out there and do whatever they can. Right now, they're winning close games. They're coming back in the fourth quarter. I think they have a good chance on making a push in the playoffs and maybe going to the Super Bowl.
That's right. The Falcons' worst defense in the NFL last year. Now probably one of top 5 at least in the NFL this year. Big turnaround for them. So let's move on here. With only one team above 500 in the NFC North, which team right now looks the best to win the division?
Green Bay Packers. That's not even a question. The Green Bay Packers are a Super Bowl contender every year. Aaron Rodgers behind center.
I couldn't agree more with that statement.
Honestly,
I could not agree more with that statement.
They have a solid defense this year. They have Eddie Lacy in their backfield. They have receivers stepping up because of Jordy Nelson's injury and Randall Cobb's injury early in the season. And they're just an all-around amazing team, and they're probably the favorites in the NFC right now, not just the NFC North.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As long as Aaron Rodgers is upright, they're going to win football games. Who knew that Greg Jones was going to come back and score more than 5 touchdowns in a single season, let alone as soon as he's doing it? Their offense is flying around and making touchdowns without Jordy Nelson. I thought after Jordy Nelson was gone that they were going to have really a lot of problems on offense, but they're winning close games. They're blowing people out. They're doing it all. I mean, their defense is stepping up. Their defense, I think, was ranked 1st in fantasy this week so far. I mean, I wasn't really expecting that, but, I mean, that's just a plus for them with their offense.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of stats here. Rodgers has thrown for over 220 yards with one 300-yard game in 5 games yet this season. Already. He's looking poised and looking really good. So we're going to move on here to which team is the most disappointing so far in the NFL this season?
I would have to say the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City signing Jeremy Maclin at wide receiver, having probably one of the best running backs in Jamal Charles in their backfield with an outstanding defense with Justin Houston and their Eric Berry in the secondary. I'm so surprised to see Kansas City struggling this much this season. They lost a close one to Denver in week 2, and they just lost Jamal Charles to a torn ACL for the rest of the season. I can't see any more upside than the Kansas City Chiefs had coming into the year than they have right now.
I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I feel like if everyone was healthy, they'd definitely be challenging the Bengals right now to take that division. But with the injuries right now, they are having a really hard time especially on defense. Terrell Suggs, their star, is out for the season. He was definitely the emotional leader in and out of the locker room. I was expecting them to have a high-powered offense this year with Forsett coming back. They signed him on a bigger contract. And their defense is down and out, so I'm going to pick the Ravens this year.
All right. Well, that does it for us here at In the Zone. Come back on next Monday, live at 5, as always. It's been a pleasure. For my friends here, Richie, Kyle, we'll see you next time here on In the Zone.